Hi, Alice here. Wherever I go, there it is. What? Carolina Jessamine, a woody native perennial vine. It twines around the fences in the pasture areas. You can see it climbing up trees. What a beautiful sight. This bright yellow flower, this evergreen vine. Let's go check it out. I just couldn't resist taking some photos of this beautiful Carolina Jessamine vine. Most of the year, you don't realize it's there. And if it's crawling on your fence, you think, oh, maybe this is a vine that I need to cut down. But at this time of year, which is the end of winter, early spring, it blossoms and it just is uplifting. You're driving around and things look still brown from winter and frost. And here's vines that are covered in blossom. Native to the southeastern United States, very hardy vine, and it's probably best known for climbing its way up into the branches and the tops of trees. And people look up and they go, oh, what kind of tree is that? It's got yellow flowers in it, when actually it's the Carolina Jessamine vine that's blooming. This woodland perennial origin goes from the eastern United States all the way down to Honduras. It can grow 20 feet high. Some things I've seen say up to 40. So it can twine its way up to the top of trees, and it grows 20 to 30 feet wide. It can get very bushy, and if it's not twining and going out on a branch, it can form a very dense mass. And I have even seen it twine itself around fences, and the sheer weight of it causing the fences to buckle a little bit. Here's an example of a vine that's just hanging off of a branch, and there's so much of it mass on the top of this small tree that it's bending the top of the tree over. Hardy to zone 6 through 10, some references said 11. It does perform it as a semi-evergreen in cooler zones like 6 and 7, and as an evergreen in the warmer zones like 8 through 10. Here in North Florida, we would be in the 9A range. We would be seeing this as an evergreen and an early spring bloomer. We know this vine as the herald of spring because it'll start blooming in places in late winter and early spring. Cooler zones, it blooms a little bit later in spring, April and May. I decided to do a short drive around my community to see just how prevalent this beautiful Carolina Jessamine vine is. And there it is. I haven't gone more than 100 feet from the last one, and here is the whole patch of it. So I'm getting out and walking over to enjoy this beautiful sight. And these are just I think they call them snags, trees that have died and they've been left standing for the woodpeckers, and the vines have crawled up them and are blooming here. The vines twine their way up other trees so that as you come along, it seems like everywhere you look, there it is. The conditions where this plant thrives, first of all, the soil. It does prefer a rich, organic soil. If it is in the forest, lots of leaves fall, decompose, and that forms a very thick organic mulch. So it thrives in that. It likes well-drained soil, but it will grow in other soils that are partially sandy, The soil pH ranges from acidic, which would be somewhere between 4.5 to 6, and alkaline, which would be up to 8. Sun requirement: full sun, part shade, blooming best, thriving best in full sun. And you'll see that as you drive around on the highways and byways in the rural areas, especially around here in North Florida, and probably in other places in the Carolinas and Georgia where it grows, that the vines that are in the woody, kind of bushy areas are thin, and you can see them stretch out looking for sun. The vines that are wrapped around fences in open pasture areas are very dense and bright green. It's Carolina Jessamine time. These wonderful native wildflower vines with their trumpet-type yellow flowers are all over as you drive around. As you're driving, everything seems brown on brown, and then there it is, this pop of brilliant yellow. The water requirement: it prefers a moderate soil. It likes a well-drained soil, and it will tolerate short periods of drought. Also a native plant and a blooming plant, it does attract bees, butterflies, other pollinators, even birds that can handle the tubular flowers. So think hummingbirds. The bloom time is late winter through spring. Bloom color is bright yellow, and the bloom form or shape is tubular, also called funnel-like. So those pollinators and birds with the longer proboscis or longer beak, like hummingbird, have better access to the flowers. Living in a rural area, it's very common to see Carolina jessamine vines finding their way along fence lines. And what a great sight. And I can hear the pollinators, important gardening tips. All parts of this plant are poisonous, and not just poisonous, toxic. And this is for human and for pets. The plant contains an alkaloid-like substance similar to strychnine. The sap, the root, the stem, the leaves, the berries, the flowers, all poisonous. Think about that when you're thinking about where or if you want to add this plant to your yard. If you decide you'd like to have this plant in your yard, if you have a woodland area, you may already have this plant growing in that area. And as a landscape use, that would be a perfect area. Other possibilities could be if you want it in a small garden area, such as a butterfly garden, pollinator garden, a native plant garden, or even a garden that you have for winter blooming plants. You can use it as a ground cover, or you can have it go up a trellis or twine around a vertical structure to add that spectacular color when it is in bloom. And when it's not in bloom, its dense form will form the privacy screen for you. It's also a spectacular specimen plant. This is a very low maintenance plant. It is deer resistant, no surprise if it's poisonous, and it is also almost no known pest. So stop, think a minute. If you want to add this plant to your landscape, if you have young children or grandchildren who might go and pluck the flowers and try to suck on the sap, that would be a huge mistake. If you have animals that chew on plants like my daughter's dog, Chippy. I will not plant this in my garden because when my daughter and her dog visit, Chippy is always investigating everything, wanting to chew on this, that, and the other tips of plants, dig things up. That's a huge consideration given the toxicity of this plant. My preference is to drive the highways and byways of my rural area of north central Florida and to thoroughly enjoy the beauty of this plant in its natural woodland setting and know that spring is just around the corner. If you enjoyed the video, thumbs up greatly appreciated. Comment if you have experience with this plant or similar plant, or some videos you may enjoy watching next. Subscribe if you've not yet subscribed. Garden Yay! See you again soon.